Welcome, welcome, welcome everyone to Live from NCCE. We're so thrilled to have you here today, but we are even more thrilled to have Dr. Michael McVeigh with us. Dr. McVeigh is an educator. He has been an educator for 40 years. Wow. He started teaching in 1980. He taught high school special ed and English literature in Canada. Then he went to Japan, right, in the Japan Exchange and Teaching Program. Then special ed in Tucson, Arizona, where I believe you are known for creating the first school-based website and first district sites in the nation, which
my
is
goodness, you did research. Oh my, actual research.
Of course I did. And then you've published a book called Meeting the Internet Challenge. And now you are a tenured professor at Eastern Michigan University. And of course, you sit on the board of directors for ISTE and ASCD. Matter of fact, Michael and I met at ISTE this year at the Ignite session, which was pretty exciting. He did the introduction, and then I was the first speaker at Ignite. And I was so nervous. I said, just tell me what you're going to say, the last thing, so I know when to start. And so I will return the favor, sir. Buckle up your seatbelts. And it is time to listen to Dr. Michael McVeigh talking about.
That's right. That's what now you left out the most important thing on my resume, the fact that I'm a school board president, which is why we're here tonight. But we have to talk about the ISTE Ignite thing, because I don't know, what do I know about fashion or anything like that? But I was correct. I was telling the first speaker to go off, oh, you forgot to tuck in the back of your shirt. And Tammy reached over and said, Mike, I think it was you, Tammy. Said, it's a French tuck. It's supposed to be tucked in the front and out in the back. And I said, who knew? And now I see it everywhere.
We're of an age that doesn't make sense to me either. I used to have the same, and I was like, no, okay, that's fashion. All right. But the engaged school board, tell me, I mean, I would love to have my school board more engaged. So please tell us more.
Well, that's just such an interesting question that you start off with, like why on earth you need them to be more engaged. But yes, I am a school board member. I was reelected this past year, and for my sins, that's the way we say it, they named me a president of the school board, which is fine. But here's the thing: I'm a researcher at the university. I also was a teacher. I do all sorts of things with technology. And I thought, if I went through this whole school board experience the next 3.5 years and never did any research or talk about the kind of cool things that we can do to improve school boards, then I would really be remiss. I would. So I spent the summer working on a book, and the working title at this point is The Engaged School Board: Nurturing Partnerships in the Digital Age. But I got to flip my screen here. So let's. I hope I'm still on. So here's me, actually. Tammy absolutely could not believe this was me. This was me when I actually had hair. I think I was a fresh second-year teacher in Canada, teaching English, science fiction, and all sorts of other cool stuff. And the question always came up. I left a word out. The word is most. Who is most responsible for student success? Of course, back then I was full of myself. I said, well, it's me, great teacher, right? That's what you need. And so I that's not actually the case. But as I moved along in my career, I discovered, well, maybe it's more than that. And by the way, this is the cover of the book that I wrote, Modern Curriculum Press. They stopped publishing it after 3 months. And for years, I got checks for $0.00. Anyway, I became a department head, and I thought, well, maybe it's administration that are the most responsible. But as I became a department head, I learned that there's so many other people in the school, so many other things going on in the students' lives, so many mitigating factors. And I thought, well, I really, at the end, came to the conclusion after 44 years of teaching, it really does take a whole village when it comes to student success. And then I thought about this last thing, and this is me in my role. I happened to have 3 gavels that night. One was from my father, my late father. And I thought, well, here's this group of people, elected people from the community who may have zero background in education, yet they're responsible for policy, for an overview of the curriculum, the budget right down to the penny. And I thought, well, if we can perhaps use some of the tools and get them more engaged with the community, is this a way that we can help school boards actually have a greater say in the success of students. So I've got a document here. I got papers, research going back. This is what I discovered. Research has gone back 30 years about school boards. And if you have an effective school board, does that affect student growth or student success? And apparently, according to some of the research, all of the research, it says yes. So I boiled it down. In fact, the National School Boards Association, NSBA, came up with 8 elements of an effective school board. And some of these are merged into this. So I wanted to make mine simpler and easier to get around. So I created four areas: visions and goals, data and accountability, support and engagement, unity and commitment. And we'll talk about each of those. So I'm going to go through really fast. The way the book is laid out is I have, for each of these, I have 4 activities, 4 ways that your school board can get more engaged with the community. Some of them are like a little star system. Some are very, very easy, no work required at all, hardly. And others require a lot more effort. And I'm discovering I need to have a 3rd star, because one of the things I was going to share that I thought I'd be able to give examples of has just hit wall after wall after wall. So almost everything in here I have tried, or I'm going to be trying very, very soon. So here we go. Let's just talk about the first one. Here's some lovely people I met at a district nearby. Here's the scenario. Oh, and I'm also going to share some highlights from districts around the country too. Here's the scenario. This is my county, Washtenaw Intermediate School District, and each of those are little major districts. Each of them have their own little fiefdom or fiefdom. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I'm Canadian. I mess up everything apparently. And the idea was, well, how do you manage your own district in you're just one of many, many districts? Well, it was a rather simple thing. It sort of came to me one night. Why don't I just do road trips? I was a brand new president of the board, and I got in my car and just went to all of their organizational meetings, just drove, showed up and said hi. I spoke for about a minute and a half and then watched their meeting and left. What was astounding was that these board members were saying, no one's ever come to see us before. And I said, well, hey, we're colleagues in this. We're all have the same struggles. And I got to see how they ran their meetings, doing it all wrong, of course. No, it was always different. It was always fascinating to see the differences. And by reaching out to our broader community of school board members, I thought, well, this is helpful. This is something I could use. And then I thought maybe I could attach a technology tool to each of these. So this is the question I'm going to leave with anyone in the audience as we're going through here. Are there technology tools that we can use to help make these things happen? And one of the ones I came up with for this particular exercise was Google Calendar. Now we're going to pause for a second, because you're all teachers, you know a great deal about technology. The people who are who are supervising your superintendent, some of them know next to nothing about how technology works. Some of them know next to nothing about how schools work, and that's a whole other story, but we're not going to dig into it. They all have good hearts. They all want the best for kids, but if they could give them some tools or share some tools, and sadly, this is a little Google centric as you go through it, but I know that Microsoft has a huge, wonderful suite as well of tools like Outlook. So let me share the one highlight. I was at the ISTE conference in Philadelphia, and I ran across somebody. I was just asking the question, hey, do you have any really cool school board stories? Waterbury, Connecticut. She said, I'm from Delaware, but I have to tell you about this Waterbury, Connecticut. They looked around the school board, they engaged with their community and listened to the Muslim community. I think there are 15 to 25% Muslim in their district. And they said to her, we're all celebrating Easter and Christmas and all that, and we don't see any of our holidays in the district. So the Waterbury district talked to imams talked to other folks in the district, talked to the state, and they are the first ones now to offer a day off for Eid al-Fitr, I believe. There's another holiday, Eid al-Adha, I think it's called, and if the kids are absent for that, it won't be counted against them. But they actually called this particular holiday on the calendar, which was a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for great community outreach. And we won't talk much. Oh, and I talked to somebody from Bristol in the ISTE Loop sessions, and she was saying that this now is reaching over to her her district, which is just down the road. So let's look at the next one, data and accountability, the driest and heftiest of them all. And really, budgets and things like that, and data that we deal with in our board meetings. It's like a Rorschach test. It really is. It's lies, damn lies, and statistics. So what I thought about creating as a way of engaging with the community is a thing called parent data councils. And you'd think this would be pretty straightforward. Give them, like recently, we've been talking about school enrollment because we were down 60 to 90 students this year. And of course, people in the community, some of them are saying, well, it's because you're too woke, or, oh, it's because of this, or, they've all got their reasons for it. And the reality is just a number of parents have left the district because they moved, and this happens. So we need a little flexibility, and I need the parents out there to know how data works a little better. So one of the things we created was an idea of creating some set data sets for them in Google Sheets, showing them how the Google Sheets work, have our school board members work with these, and sit down with key parent groups and say, okay, we're going to do a deep dive into the attendance data. Now we're going to do a deep dive into the we have a number of tests, our NWEA or our MWEA tests or standardized tests. Let's do a deep dive in there and see what we can pick out, what sort of story these numbers can tell, because it's all about telling stories in the end. So I'm hoping to see my first data council coming up soon, once things settle down in our school district. And let me share another highlight then. This is from California. Some of you may even know Saratoga, and I'm waiting for Tammy to jump right in and say, I know Saratoga. They have office hours, which is something I've mentioned at our conferences in the Michigan Association of School Boards. I said, hey, how about this idea of office hours? And they said, well, how would it work? And I said, well, they have two school board members, never three, never quorum level, and they're always supervised. Everyone knows that they're there. And parents at a certain time right after school can, leave the kids in aftercare, come in and have a conversation with these school board members. And I thought, what a fantastic way of engaging with the community. Just set office hours. So if there are any things that are bubbling up from the community, board members can get a sense of what that's all about, which is kind of cool. But anyway, I won't belabor any of that because I know I don't have as much time as I thought. Most professors, it'll take them 20 minutes just to clear their throats, but I'm going to just dive right in. The next of the two sets that I merged together was something called support and engagement. And by the way, if you look at some of these pictures in the background, this is AI generative art. These are two letters I did not think I would be spending every waking minute since January 2nd thinking about this thing called Chat GPT. But yeah, c'est la vie. So I've created these, and these are wonderful faces, and I went with that one. Anyway, we had board members taking pot shots at city council. We had city council members taking pot shots at the spending that we were doing at the school district because we had a big bond issue and brought in $180 million, and I think there's a little jealousy. Well, anyway, we thought this is an issue. This is a thing. We're talking about support and engagement. How do we support each other? Well, we decided to have a joint retreat, city council members, and this may not be a brand new thing, it's common sense, but we brought city council members together with school board members and had a mediated evening with each other, dealing with things, dealing with issues and trying to discuss where we thought each of our strengths were and that sort of thing. And one of the tools that our district uses, and I'm quite proud of sharing, is, it's not up here yet, but I'll show it a bit later. One of the tools that we used for this evening was Jamboard. And you recall Jamboard, it's a wonderful tool. You can fill these sticky notes and they fly up and fill the screen. And for brainstorming, it's a lot of fun. But of course, the other day we discovered the Jamboard is no longer, so it's just very sad. Google just made the announcement. Google's also getting rid of Comic Sans font, apparently, which is, I don't know, I kind of thought it was fun in the early days in the 1990s. So now we're looking at tools like FigJam, we're looking at Miro, we're looking at Canva, we're looking at Google Slides, we're looking at all these other tools. And this is the technology part that I want to share with my board members, ways of doing interactive, collaborative whiteboards. So there's all sorts of great tools out there right from the classroom. And the overlap is that our school board members who know very little about technology also get a chance to learn a little more about the technology tools that we're using in our classrooms. So here's a highlight. Some of you, I don't know if any of you have heard of you've heard of Pittsburgh, but have you heard of Remake Education Days? As I was doing my tour around, I spoke with a wonderful fellow. He had done a movie called Most Likely to Succeed, and he was sharing with us the most amazing thing. Philadelphia takes over for a week, and this is the large citywide scale. Kids set up kiosks in grocery stores, outside restaurants, on main streets and farmers markets, and they share the stuff they're doing in the classroom. They share the amazing things they're doing, their maker experiences, their you name it, whatever's really cool going on in the classroom, storybooks that they've created, all ages, all grades. It's like a citywide show and tell for a week, reminding people that the tax dollars they spend for education are well worth it. And this is our future. This is what we can do. And I thought this is what a great idea. And I've got in the book details of how to do this from the smaller, most rural districts to some of the bigger cities. And I've got Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to lead the way in this. And if you ever want to look it up, just look up Remake Days and have some fun. Now, the background picture here is a kind of an interesting thing. We had a major racial incident in our little district. This is my school board. These are what I have behind me at the main when I'm on my school board meetings. Unity and commitment. How do we present a unified voice, and how can we do it better as board members? And this is a photograph that our Michigan Live, MLive, took. We had students at the meeting, and we kept pushing them farther and farther to the end of the meeting, not during my tenure, by the way, to the point that they left, they ordered pizza, they came back, they ended up linking arms and standing in a row in front of the board table. I'd never seen this before in my life. And I can't, for the life of me, I can't even recall the main issue that they wanted to discuss that night. But it quickly turned from whatever their issue was to, you're not listening to us. And so we had an idea, a very simple idea. Some districts have embraced the idea so much it's become their logo, and it's students first. We actually write it in our agenda. This is the simplest putt you can possibly make. Hey, if a student has something to say, we put them at the start of the agenda. It doesn't matter if they speak about things that are on the agenda or things that come later, whatever's on their mind. If they want to come in and talk, they have the floor and they get to go first. And we try to put students first in so many things. And there are so many other ways that we can do that and engage with the community and thinking in terms of interacting with the students and using our fame. So here's another technology tool that we've got going is the record button. By setting up things like YouTube channels or making videos for our colleagues, for the kids. Well, I'm sorry, I'm going to distract myself. I'm going to divert and go back a little bit. Once a year, we are secret readers. We do video recordings, or audio recordings of chapters from a book of the month. I think one year it was the front desk, and I can't remember some of the others, but they were all amazing little books. So, and we get to introduce ourselves very quickly and then jump into the story. That's cool. One year, somebody had each of the board members reading the night before Christmas. Well, not everyone celebrates Christmas. So are there other things that we can do during African American History Month? We each read a different book. I did this through my school, Eastern Michigan University. We each read a chapter book, and I by doing that, I worked through some real technological issues and challenges, and I'm ready to share those with the board members who think, well, I can't do that. No, you can do that. There are lots of really amazing things you can do with a simple YouTube channel. We have just yesterday, one of our legislators announced they were going to do a dyslexia screening for all kindergartners or pre-K. I'm not sure what it was. And we had an interview between one of our board members who is a reading specialist and this legislator or state senator. Made it as an explainer. They talked for an hour and 20 minutes. I boiled it down to a tight 15. And now it's available for anybody who wants to learn more about it. And we also have a Google form for asking questions. These are tools that you can use for reaching out to the community that a lot of board members had no idea was even possible. Let's see one of our highlights. Oh, and now, of course, I had to share the highlight from my own district. We've had some rather fraught conversations over the years. And one of the tools that we use is something that started in Connecticut called Seeds to Civility. And ours is called the Bridge to Civility. And if you look closely, I'm not sure if you can see it, these are the norms of our interactions with each other during the affinity tours, our listening sessions where the superintendent and a couple of school board members listen in. These are the ground rules for all our conversations. And we talk about this so often that occasionally a parent will say in the middle of the talk, remember, assume good intentions. This is the middle one here, the Alice in the middle of the Brady Bunch. So I'll keep moving on. There are some pretty cool things out there. If you have any really neat ideas, and I'm still looking for some great school board stories that you might have. This is some more generative AI art. They gave me a beard. All right, that'll do. My daughter doesn't like me with a beard, but one of these days she's just going to have to deal with it. Let's see what I can tell you. Yeah, I teach at Eastern Michigan University. I'm happy to listen to any of you. If you have some really cool ideas for tools that you might want to use that you think would be great for board members to use, let me know and share them. Either email me directly or send them to Tammy. Now, I know there's like 8 minutes left, 7 minutes left. So I hope Tammy's going to come back and ask some really cool questions about the other thing that's really pressing. And I know what question you all want to ask me, and I'll save that for the end.
Okay, then I won't ask that one. But everybody's very excited about all of your ideas because we've all had our own experiences with school boards, and just the road trip, just the fact that you went on the road and visited schools, that is so meaningful to teachers and students to know that, the grownups in the community care enough to come and see what they're doing. But show and tell, everybody got really excited about show and tell in the community.
I know. Isn't that an amazing thing? Well, as for the road tours, that's us going to different school districts. This Monday, we're doing 3 schools. The whole board is going to hold the yellow rope, and we're going to go take a tour of all of the schools and just make a show. When I was first elected, I did the grand tour. The grand tour is underutilized, and our superintendent, and I say this in the nice way, bless his heart, he gets it. Anyway, but what was cool about the tour is that one night, I had 2 funny looking people at the back of my board meeting. They came up and said, "We're from Chelsea, we're from Manchester," they're one of our local districts. And they said, we wanted to watch what you guys do. And I said, "Great, you want to see us?" Fine. So they saw me sitting in the audience, and then they came out. It's a snowball. We're snowing. Yeah. All right. So what we want to talk about to you all, or with you all today, is ASCD and ISTE merged. And yes, I know, ascd.org, please drop in. In fact, I'm in Gaylord, Texas right now, so I got my conference badge on, and I was just talking to one of the staffers. This is the last ASCD only thing. From here on in, we're trying to merge everything together. And there's been a few times where we're stepping on each other's toes, but before we actually got together, here's the way it worked. They had a full board. We have a full board, like 12 and 14. We ended up with a board of like 24 people. Eventually, a couple dropped out, which is fine. Farewell. And others are going to roll off, and the board will eventually come down. People have asked me, when are you going to have elections again? I don't know, but we're working on it. We're waiting for the board to get right-sized as people roll off. And in fact, this is my last. I'll be gone in December unless they decide to make me board president. We'll see, but I'm in no rush for that. I'm the co-treasurer this year. I was a secretary for 3 years before that. So I'm treasurer with one of Bart Epstein, who is from the ASCD side. We have two presidents, Nicole Blanchard and Matt Mingle, and they've worked together brilliantly. They've been really good. So have our secretaries, Christy Terry from Missouri and Charles, I cannot remember his name. So when we first got together, it was like I explained it was like a middle school dance. We were on one side and they were at the other, and the music was going, and we're kind of shuffling closer and closer to them. And Richard Culata was saying, "Get out there and dance," and it worked. We become really close. Both groups have become really close, and we work well with each other. Been no real crises at all, and I can actually read this. Well, one organization allowed for membership in one. Oh, yes. From what I understand, your membership in the future will be for both ASCD and ISTE. What I like about this, the merger, is that we finally have, and I used to be on the floor a lot. We go to all the vendor hall. I've never made it from one end to the other. It's gigantic.
It's almost
Hundreds.
impossible.
I know. So one of the problems was occasionally a vendor would say, the wrong people are coming by. We want the money folks to come by, or we're getting too many teachers, or we're not getting enough teachers. And with this new merger, with this new organization, we're getting the superintendents to the table. We're getting the administrators. And we're getting occasionally the school board members as well. So I think this is it's really a match made in heaven. It feels like the entire education community is coming together now, and we're getting a lot of soups and building administrators who are learning a great deal about technology, and a lot of our teachers who are technology oriented are saying, "I'm getting some real inspiration from these future principals." One of the books I saw on their bookshelf was, I forget the exact title. So you want to be a principal, or does a principal really lead, or what to do if you're considering being a principal, things like that. So they're looking at this transition of people right on the cusp, moving ahead. So I'm really delighted with the merger. And if those of you are interested in, keep your eye on it. Go ahead, ask the question, Tammy. Go ahead.
That was the question. The question was, will we, like a lot of us are ISTE members, but have not been ASCD members. And so now that there's a merger, that's what we assumed, is that we would belong to both organizations. Is that what you're seeing?
Yes. Well, here's the thing. That phrase, both organizations, no longer exists.
What will you call the duo organization?
That's the question I thought you were going to ask. We had
ISTE ASCD.
I'm going to run out the time, and I'm going to say it just as we run out of time. No, because I don't.
We'll give you some more minutes.
Because I don't know.
So, do they have an idea what they're going to call it?
We had 9. Oh, hear the sad story, or the long story. We had 900 names at one point, and then we worked it down. We've crowdsourced it among the staff. We put out calls to everyone. The board has put in their 2 cents. And of course, we've got things like, there are like 3 categories. One is something that's completely made up, like squiggle. Richard shared this one. He said, a squiggle. And I thought, it almost doesn't matter what it's called. Eventually, we'll get behind it. And then there's these portmanteaus like EduVision, and these are not real names. I'm not. Don't go out and buy the URL or the domain thinking that that's what we're going. We're just making stuff up here, spitball. We mush any 2 words together and it sounds vaguely educational. And what we discovered that almost all of them were taken. I think we boiled down to 20 or 30 names. And then we looked at ASU plus GSV, and we thought, well, maybe we can just stick with this ISTE plus ASCD, or ASCD plus ISTE, depending on how you're feeling. And in the last, leadership meeting we had, both Bart Epstein, co-treasurer, and I said, it's starting to slip off. It's tripping off the tongue now. ISTE plus ASCD. Yeah. I don't know. It seems long. Remember, we used to call it NECC.
Mm.
And even before that, it was microcomputers in education, or it was something, but whatever it is, whatever name we come up with, we'll embrace it. I think this is, I love ISTE. I honestly do. It is such a powerful organization and such an empowering organization for new teachers and existing teachers and old. I'm going to throw out all the words I was thinking of. Older teachers.
Veteran is the word you're looking for.
That is the word I'm
Veteran
looking for.
teachers.
Thank you. You're brilliant. By the way, I all the teachers I started with back in 1980, they've already retired, and I'm a full professor, and apparently it's really hard to get rid of us. So I'm just going to keep going until they wheel me out, or until I got something else better to do in my spare time.
That's what they do. You're tenured and then you're emeritus, right?
Well, you can apply to be emeritus once you leave, but once you only get to be emeritus when you're out the door, so. Now, if somebody gives me a buyout and says, we'll give you 2 or 3 years of salary if you leave, that might. Anyway, I'm not old enough to retire, and I'm not interested in sports, and pickleball scares me. I do oil painting though. That's keeping me busy. Maybe I'll go to sculpting or something like that.
There you go. We
Or
would
be a
like
sub, or
you can sculpt the new logo.
Yeah, I doubt that. And then, or drive a school bus. We're desperate for school. Any of the audience right now, if you want to move to Michigan and drive a school bus for us, we will take you. We will take you. You have to have your CDL license, though. Anyway, it's been nice seeing you again, Tammy. Nice to see you.
Wonderful to see you.
Sadly, I didn't hear your talk, but at the very end, were you a curtsier or a bower?
I'm a bower.
At the end of the Ignite session, I said to everyone backstage, okay, we're all going to do a curtsy. And I demonstrated how to do a curtsy because, I'm a royalty watcher. I know how to do that. And apparently, according to the video, only half of us bowed and half of us curtsied. So, oh, well.
I generally just do with my head.
But you, a head tilt, yes. But Tammy was a curtsy. She went full curtsy. Thank you, Tammy.
Yes, that's what I did. It was so wonderful to have you on and inspirational. I mean, students first. Everyone was talking about what a way to show how much that you value the students and the community. Thank you, Maria, for that. But that's really what it's about. It's about building relationships. And I would think for a school board, it's about building relationships with the community, with the schools, with the students. And when the school board gets engaged, how much better are their decisions going to be, and how much more confidence will we have in a school board, right?
You betcha. Well, thank you. That was very sweet, and it's inspiring to me. I'll just finish the book now. A year ago, December, I was in San Diego, and there were all these people that I kind of felt like they're really friendly and charming and warm and everything. It turns out they're all school board members. It was the California School Boards Association, and I had just come from the Michigan School Boards Association. So I think these are all people who were not afraid to stand in front of a camera and talk. We're not afraid to have opinions. We love kids. We love schools. We know what fund balances are and budgets, and heaven forbid, we know what policies and legislation are. We know who our people are in government. It was a great group, and I'd love to come and speak to some of them over the next different school districts all over the state and Canada. I've got some really interesting leads from Canada as well, especially like Manitoba's got some good ideas. I'm going back to my old school district, Tucson, Arizona. It's Sunnyside School District in Tucson. I've been talking to those people, and there's so much going on.
It is fun. Thank you for your time and your talent. We really appreciate you. This, of course, is recorded and will be on our YouTube channel for ad infinitum. I don't know, forever, but feel free to use that link and share it with people that you are looking to speak with at their conferences. I just think you got a wonderful message, and I hope you stay in touch and let us know when that book gets published, because I'm going to buy the first copy, and I hope you'll autograph it.
Well, of course. No, I'm going to do even better. You're going to have to write the one of the dust jacket lines, right?
You've got it. I will absolutely be there. I'm very excited. Yay!
See what happens when you come to conferences? You meet really cool people. That's the best.
You do. Well, everyone, thank you so much for your time, for joining us for Live from NCCE. Have a wonderful weekend, and thank you again, Dr. McVeigh.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.